Rounding off day 3, the end of Halfway Jam, and this is Skillet, which is another one of the big interviews that people have been waiting for, which is great that they accepted because yesterday Hinder called them out, so it's awesome that they accepted and owned up to it. And they're helping raise another 1,000 meals for ending child hunger in the U.S. And again, it's another big one for a big win, as we call it, for No Kid Hungry, but it's just a big win, you know, no matter how you look at it. So thank you for agreeing to do the interview with us and help us be part of ending child hunger.
Awesome.
And
sounds good.
Now that you had a chance to kind of get briefed on the project that you're a part of and what you're helping to do, how do you feel about that?
Oh, I think it's great. I mean, I think raising money or clothing and food and for things is great, but I'd love to see something that's happening in America. A lot of times, you know, we always raise money for things overseas, which are also fantastic, but I think a lot of people don't realize how many people in America are hungry and unclothed and things like that. So I think it's fantastic.
You know, and the same thing, my motto, if you want to call it, says that 2050 is the year that I end child hunger, and that may be a little unrealistic to say I'm going to end child hunger, but I have big dreams, and I'd like to see it end worldwide, but again, we know that might not be possible. But I think, like you said, people don't realize how much we have right here in the U.S. I mean, we know that it's overseas, and we know that we have hunger in other countries, but I don't think people realize how much we have on our home front right here in the U.S. as far as child hunger in the United States.
Yeah.
So we need to bring attention to the fact that it's in your neighbor's houses, it's in your backyard. You just don't want to see it, and it's there. So with Skillet being a part of it and helping to raise awareness, hopefully people understand that it does exist.
Good.
So, you know, when you think of the word hunger, and specifically child hunger, what do you think of? What does that immediately bring to your mind?
Oh gosh, I guess the first thing I think of is like the commercials for like starving kids in Africa.
Right.
You know, that's the first thing I think of, which is probably what led me to what we've been talking about. It always seems with something that's very far away, and I think it wasn't probably until I was older that I realized that it also is close to home. So those are the first things that I think of.
You know, one of the things that have been mentioned in several of the interviews we've done today has been the topic of food waste here in the U.S. What do you think of that subject? I mean, is that something you agree with, or that you think?
It's something I really probably have not thought about enough to articulate in anything.
Well, I guess we just think of the fact of, I've looked at it as far as, you know, restaurants at the end of the night, all the food they have to throw out, you know, that they aren't able to donate, and how much food we waste that could probably be used, you know, elsewhere, and how much we could, you know, be using, or maybe giving more aid to the farmers. You know, education as far as not getting fast food. Right? Better eating. But No Kid Hungry's project is making sure that kids don't go hungry over the summer. So keeping politics out of it. You know, I'm sure you're well aware of that. There's food programs like the reduced or free lunches in school. So most kids get meals in school. Right? So summer, kids don't have that. So No Kid Hungry wants to make sure that kids don't go hungry over the summer, because when they're out, where are they going to get that? So we want to make sure by Skillet agreeing to do an interview that they're helping to raise those meals over the summer, so that they're not going hungry, running around figuring out how they're going to get food, and you know, kids shouldn't have to be worried about where their next meal comes from.
Absolutely,
So they are helping to raise another 1,000 meals, and like I said, $100 to those of you watching, it might not sound like a big deal, and you think, oh, $100 big deal, but 1,000 meals that we're able to turn that into is a really big deal for kids in the U.S., and that's a huge deal. So for you to be a part of that for us is, you know, a phenomenal achievement for us. So we really appreciate that. You know, another question I've been asking most bands is, for those that are watching this, and I know we can't make them change their minds, but for those that are watching and saying, you know, I really don't care, it doesn't affect me, you know, it's not my problem, what would you tell those watching it who say, it's not my problem?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I hadn't thought about that. I mean, I suppose the thing from my own personal story would be that when I began to give back and began to give money to help, whether it was something like this or Salvation Army or World Vision or whatever it is, when I have found myself putting money into something that is helping people in need, it does satisfy your soul in a way that spending money on yourself does not. So that's not really me trying to preach to anyone. That's my own story. Is I've thought, you know what, this feels. Maybe there's something I really want to buy. Maybe I would even really enjoy it. But when I do find myself giving what I have to someone who needs something, rather than something that I want, but they need it, food, it satisfies your soul in a very deep way. And so I probably encourage people that, you already said this, but most people go, if I can't give $1,000, I'm not going to give anything at all, because a little bit doesn't matter, and that is not true. You know, it's the same principle as saving money. You know, if I can't save $100, I'm going to save anything, but the little bit adds up.
Right.
So I think it's fantastic, and I would encourage people to give a little bit that they have and see how their soul feels.
Quick question: what is your okay, we're just gonna throw this out there, which has nothing to do with No Kid Hungry. But what's your youngest Skillet fan that you have seen on tour, that you've seen out there in the crowds? What's the youngest little?
We just met one tonight. He couldn't have been more than 4 years old.
Right, I think I've seen that little kid. He's got to be no more than just.
Yeah, I don't know. Skillet has got some very young fans. I'm not always sure why that is. I love it. You know, I love having that broad, you know,
the
age
little
range.
monsters in the monsters.
That's exactly what it is. They feel like a monster out there. But I love seeing those little kids, because you know, you go, maybe they might be a fan for life, you know.
Right? I love it.
Why not?
Even more reason to help them out, because you know what, they have to, you know, maybe they'll grow up to be rock stars themselves. So, you know, we love it. So this was the last interview of the evening, and the last for the festival, but we appreciate the time that they've taken to do this with us and help raise money and raise awareness for No Kid Hungry. We all appreciate it very much. So check out Skillet, check out their music. Even if you aren't a fan of that type of music, I don't care. I love it.